Hey, how's it going, you guys? Welcome to Glimmers of the Past. This is a game by Aishalin. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but I'm not very good at pronouncing names. This is kind of like a sci-fi visual novel, and it's made for the O2A2 Jam. So it means it has to kind of use just kind of one asset, and then it has to be under 1,000 words. So it's going to be pretty short, pretty sweet, just like Reflection, the game I played the other day. And I'm looking forward to it. It looked like it was a pretty good quality. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. Establishing a data link. Synchronizing the brain interface. Data link successful. I think this is supposed to take place in like the far future, so. Looks like a mall to me.
Welcome to Glimmers of the Past, an interactive
Oh,
exhibition
it's voice acted.
of the most recent
Okay.
electroarchaeological discoveries from our home planet, Earth.
Home planet Earth.
Broadcast live to you from the archives of Proxima Centauri b. Now, where are you joining us from today?
I mean, I'm from Earth. I don't know about you guys.
Wolf 1061c.
Dang, there's a planet called Wolf?
A marvelous planet indeed. Congratulations on surviving the rotational period and staying sane. Based on your proximity, irregularities in the quantum teleport data transfer may be possible.
Dang, I didn't expect this game to be this high quality. Like, I kind of looked at like the little preview picture and I was like, oh, this looks like a cool game. And I knew what to expect from having played the other one. It's just kind of mostly a static image, right? You're just kind of chilling. But like, if you notice her, like she's like looking around and stuff, kind of moving. And it seems like, the text and the dialogue seems really like, I don't know. I don't want to say like smart because that makes me just sound really dumb, but like it sounds smarter than me. Like whoever wrote this like clearly like knows English really well, a little bit better than me. And then the UI so far is really good too. And then it's voice acted. I'm like, what? Voice acting? That's not something you really see on a lot of itch.io visual novels. So I'm really like impressed with that.
Please report any data disruptions greater than 5% to your data provider.
So I'm thinking of cable. I'm like, nobody gets their advertised speed. Like, who out there like has like, okay, it's like 100 megabytes per second, and they're getting that consistently? Nobody. So I'm gonna have to report that.
Today we present to you a discovery once known as a shopping center, also known as a mall.
So in English though, is that like the British spelling, or am I just totally wrong on that? Would it be center like ER? So I'm wondering if maybe the creator's British, but I could be wrong on that.
This vista has been recreated from entertainment data created circa 100 years AGMS, depicting everyday life from approximately 30 years BGMS. Sadly, most real recordings of the time were destroyed in the geomagnetic storm that marks the beginning of our current age. This is probably the closest approximation we can hope to have of the average lifestyle at that time.
Huh, so it sounds like it's pretty hard to look back at the past then.
According to our extensive research, the shopping center was a place where denizens of the age congregated to acquire various life experiences.
Sure, that's one way to put it. I feel like that's a very fancy way of saying that. It was mostly people going to shop for overpriced clothes. Eat decent food. I would say the food courts are like decent for like fast food or just cheap food. They're not like anything special, not anything great, but usually you'll find a few kind of restaurants or whatever that are like something you wouldn't find elsewhere.
As the name suggests, such structures are often located at the center of the community, serving as distinctive landmarks.
I mean, I could say that's true. I feel like that's more maybe like 80s, 90s type era. Once you got into like the 2000s, maybe, well, they probably were still popular in the 2000s. I'm thinking more like the 2010s, I think, is when you really started seeing the decline of malls. In my opinion, at least. I mean, I'm only 25, so I didn't grow up with malls as much as maybe someone who was older.
The word mall is thought to come from the word small.
They're definitely not small, especially this one. Look, this one has like what, 3 floors?
The buildings were small compared to the rest of their surroundings, which usually included a large paved square used for the collecting of heat energy from Sol.
Oh.
These monoliths were constructed of steel, silicates, and certain polycarbonates. Those
I like how
sound
she's like,
like
ooh.
archaic materials.
Those sound like archaic materials.
Perhaps, but you have to understand that those were the most commonly used at the time.
Yeah, isn't that weird to think, like, maybe one day we're gonna discover materials that are, like, way better than what we're using now? So we think of, like, plastic, and plastic's very hard to, like, degrade it and decompose it. Like, it just lasts forever, right? But maybe we'll find a material that's, like, incredibly strong and that we're able to, like, break down as well, or, like, better recycle things. I think we're gonna look back in maybe, like, 50 years and be like, wow, why did we ever use all of the things we do now?
We have prepared an explanation of some of the experiences that would have been offered here.
Oh, I can choose. I wonder if I can choose all of them. Because I don't like when they give me a bunch of options and then I don't get to choose all of them. I want to experience each one. Let's look at garb rentals. I'm assuming that's talking about clothes. Oh, that looks like a little,
You might be wondering
wedding
about my attire
kind of store
today.
up there.
All of the experiences here required a certain garb to be worn. Mine is a simulation of what would have been worn to the ride in the glass cage.
To ride the glass cage. I'm
Garbs
assuming that's
could
the
be
elevator.
rented for the duration of their visit in one of many garb rental locations.
She turned green.
Why wouldn't they purchase them instead? Purchasing instead of rental? What would they do with so many garbs? They don't look utilitarian enough to be properly reused.
So we're talking about, like, special occasion type wear here. Exercise polishers. What?
We have dubbed these devices as exercise polishers to describe their dual function.
Are you talking about the escalator?
Primarily, they were used to train for long stretches of climbing upwards or downwards. We actually have rare, authentic footage of this apparatus being used by a child as young as 3 Sol years for running upwards repeatedly. Peculiar. It seems like your connection isn't strong enough to support video transfer. Fear not, you can find it in the archives later. Moving on.
Interesting. That was their way of being like, hey, this has to be certain assets. You can't show too many because that's kind of the theme of the jam, right?
Secondarily,
Funny.
the peculiar air pressure in these buildings meant that most of particulate pollutants rested at ankle level and made the shoes of all visitors extremely dirty.
Yeah, I could see that.
As such, it was customary to finish any trip to the shopping center with a full-length ride while touching one's shoe to the polishing devices on the sides of the machine in order to remove the particulates.
Wait, is that true? Is that actually what those things are for? Like the kind of brushed on the side? I thought that was to prevent things from, like, getting trapped under. So, like, if it, like, went over into the side and then, like, got stuck in the escalator, I just assumed it was something like that. Is that really what it's supposed to clean your shoes? I don't know if I believe that.
The exercise polishers could have been used to replace stairs. What an interesting proposal. I don't understand why they'd want to make moving between floors more strenuous.
What do you mean more strenuous? Oh, I don't think she realizes that they move. Alright, let's look at the glass cage here.
The glass cage was a curious invention. Even the people of the time were interested in spaceflight.
I absolutely love the interpretation of what they thought all these things were. Like, this is the writing in this is top tier. I really
most
like
widely
this. It's
accepted theory for
comedic
this
but
device
interesting at the same time.
is that it was a training apparatus for physical isolation while watching the rest of the world move on as usual.
Training apparatus for physical isolation. Why would you want to train for physical isolation?
There exist several other versions of this device without the transparency to simulate complete isolation, but we have no visual records of them. It is believed the training was used to simulate the issues associated with near-light speed travel and the time dilation experienced there.
Wow, okay. Yeah, that's an interpretation for sure, guys. I really like the woman that voices this though. Like her voice is like very kind of monotone and soothing. It feels like I'm watching a documentary right now. I'm like very
Moreover,
comfortable.
if you take a closer look, you can see that it's connected to a movement mechanism. After a successful isolation session, the mechanisms were activated to move the glass cage upwards or downwards, sometimes the whole length of the building.
Well, you're starting to get more of it right there. At least you realize that it was meant to move floors, but it's not really an isolation chamber.
It is believed this training was used to simulate the higher G's and weightlessness of a sudden acceleration.
Oh, yeah, totally. You're right on the money there.
Why didn't they just use centrifuge? While they certainly were also in use, this mechanism was used more often since it utilized unused vertical spaces and was more accessible to the general public. You've read a theory that the glass cages could have been used for moving between floors. A fascinating theory. Such an elaborate design for such a simple function.
Well, you know, some people have a hard time climbing stairs. Some people are just literally too lazy to do it. And, you know, there's things like strollers, and you have to, like, move, like, I don't know. If you were stocking stuff in your stores, right, you would probably want an elevator to carry that up. You're not going to carry that up the stairs if you have heavy things. Elevators serve their purpose. There's a reason for them. All right, let's check out the last one, the resting area. What are they going to say about benches?
The shopping center would often leave visitors mentally and physically exhausted. It was common for exhausted guests to lie down and rest for a while. Due to high stress levels of visitors, there was always a staff member present, playing calming sounds on a musical instrument.
Well, you can actually kind of see the person there playing the piano. I didn't realize that.
Why do the sleeping areas have a wall on one side? Since more modern sleeping apparatuses weren't invented, they had to utilize some sort of a mechanism to prevent falling.
Interesting. Okay, that's not really a bed. I feel like that would be a poor bed.
The commonly accepted sleeping direction was with the head to the north.
Sure.
Since this was before genetically enforced ambidextrosity, we believe that the population was split evenly between left and right-handed people.
I don't know if that's true. I mean, y'all can let me know. Is there anybody that's watching this is left-handed? I don't meet very many left-handed people. I would say you probably meet more people that are ambidextrous than you would left-handed. I mean, there's a lot of people that can use both as their main hand, but I don't meet many left-handed people. I really don't. Most people I know are right-handed.
After all, handedness is a strong predictor of the side you're prone to roll to in your sleep.
Is that true? I didn't know that. I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess, yeah, I think I do tend to roll over on my right side, and I'm right-handed, so maybe that's true. Never thought about that.
These could have been used for sitting.
Yeah.
Curious preposition. Sitting for rest instead of lying down.
Yeah.
That brings us to the end of the exhibition.
Oh, I was having fun with this. This is actually like a really well-made short visual novel. Like, this is what I want when I'm playing visual novels on itch.io that are like pretty short in length. Like, this is what I want. Like, just straight up quality. Like, everything about this is intriguing, interesting. It gives you a bit of a laugh, but also at the same time, like, makes you really think. Like, this is excellently well done.
We have appreciated your patronage. If you have any other questions or theories, please log them with your local electroarchaeological board.
It's definitely a little bit too smart for me when they're using all these big words, but, you know, I understand, like, archaeological and things like that.
We hope to connect to you again in the future.
Wow, okay. Your data exchange has been logged for further analysis. Closing the data link. Data link severed. Well, wow. Okay, I'm actually very impressed with that for like what it was. That was really good. I liked how there was just so much going on. Like, okay, the background was cool, right? Like, it's just a mall. But, like, they made it interesting. They kind of zoomed in on parts and were talking about it. There was humor there. Um, their interpretations of things were a little bit off. I'm glad the main girl there was, like, kind of correcting her a little bit. There was a little bit of, like, glitchiness in everything. And you can see that kind of in the logo here. It's kind of glitching a little bit. Everything like kind of moves and it doesn't feel too static, even though this is just a visual novel, right? And visual novels I consider to be pretty static. Like there's not usually too much movement going on, maybe a change of facial expressions, but this was really well done. I'm actually very happy with this. I just saw this like last night and I was like, man, I need to play that. It looks intriguing enough to give a try, and I'm glad I did. Very well done game. Good job for the creator. I would love to see more stuff like this. I think they could make this a little bit longer if they wanted to, or I think like just the length of it was fine. I don't know how much you can make that into a full game. I mean, it's just kind of like more of like a cute little like 10-minute, 20-minute experience, right? But I really liked it. Like absolutely well done. Probably one of my favorites I played of all the O2A2 games so far. I mean, I haven't played that many, but I really liked Reflection, and I liked this one. So if you haven't seen Reflection, make sure to watch that too. I have a video on it. I enjoyed that game too, but this was really well done for like a future kind of sci-fi game. I liked it a lot. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed it too. I might play some more of the O2A2 Jam. I'm not sure. I'm very selective on which games I play. I only play games I really find interesting. But not to say that the other ones aren't good too. Maybe just not so much my taste. But we'll see. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.